Good morning and welcome to Alispan Inside News. I'm Jubaida.
And I'm Rahma Dwi Suryani. Today, we will discuss important skills needed in the professional field of education.
In the modern education field, communication skills are very important, especially for educators. Clear communication helps lecturers explain lessons well, work with others, and build good professional relationships.
These changes require educators to be flexible and able to use technology effectively in the professional duties.
In addition, the growth of online learning and remote work has changed the way education is delivered. Lecturers now need to be more flexible and skilled in using technology and digital platforms.
Moreover, problem-solving skills are very important. Educators often face different challenges in teaching and learning, and they must be able to find effective solutions.
Our reporter Vina Agnia has prepared a report on how communication skills, problem-solving abilities, and remote teaching are applied in the professional work of an English education lecturer.
We now turn to Vina Agnia for the full report.
So good afternoon everyone, with me Vina Agnia. Today I'm at Lambung Mangkurat University where I will be interviewing a young lecturer who teaches at the Faculty of Teacher and Training and Education in the field of English department. Alright, here with Miss Niswi. Alright, Miss Niswi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Alright, thank you for taking your time for share your experience with us. Thank you for taking your time to the interviewing today. Before we start, let's start with introduce yourself first. Could you tell your full name, please?
Okay, my name is Niswi Ulfini.
Alright, what can I call you? Niswi or Ulfini?
You can call me Niswi.
Alright, Miss Niswi. Can I know about your background first, like your educational background?
Okay, so I basically graduated from Lambung Mangkurat University, in this university as well, for my bachelor degree. I studied English language education for my bachelor degree, and then I continued my master degree in 2020, studying applied linguistics for my master.
Wow, that's so amazing. As we know, everyone has their own skill. Like, what do you think the most important skill, the most important in your field as a lecturer or educator?
Okay, since we talk about education or educator, then it means that your teaching skill is a must. But as a lecturer, we actually have 3 pillars that we need to do. So other than education, we also need to do research, and then we also need to do community service. So I think your research skill, your analytical skill in doing research is also important. And another thing, I guess, is your commitment, because when you are doing community service, that if you don't have any commitment at all, then I don't think that you will be sincere in doing the community service.
So if we want to be a lecturer, we have to have 3 pillars, like you said. And then your career journey is very interesting. Could you tell me what is your career paths or your future career goals?
Okay, so as you said, before I become the lecturer, I already work as an employee as well in educational technology, and then I choose lecture as my lifetime career. Yeah, that's because if you become a civil servant, then it is a must that you will do it until you got retired. So my future career goal maybe is that I will continue my education for my doctoral degree, since it is compulsory in our career path that we need to take it. I think maybe I will take it in around 4 to 5 years in the future. And then hopefully, regarding my career, I hope that I can contribute more to research, especially in second language acquisition, since my field is actually applied linguistics.
Alright, Miss. Thank you for your sharing, for your experience. So understanding personal qualities is very important. Like what personal strength do you think help you succeed so far?
What should I say? Maybe my communication skill is good in terms of teaching. Yeah, so I explain clearly to my students that what my students usually said to me. And then my problem solving skill is really good as well. That's actually proven by my manager. Told me that I am actually quite good in at solving the problems. So I don't focus on the problem itself, but I usually, when I come up with a problem, I will focus on what kind of solution we can do. And then another thing, maybe the analytical skill. That's because I think if you can analyze what's good and what's bad, and if you can analyze the priorities, well, then it will become a really good a great skill for yourself.
So yeah, as we know, communication plays a big role in any workplace, including in education, right? So how do you usually communicate with your colleagues or your student?
I'm not sure. Maybe people will be able to tell. But then, if you ask me about how do I communicate, well, I communicate sincerely with them. So usually I will tell interesting stories to my colleague, and I'm being open-minded with them, and also I like sharing stories with them. So that's actually built a really good record, I think, so we can have a good relationship with my colleague. With my students, I wouldn't say I am quite a strict person in communicating, but I would say that I communicate well with my students. So usually I explain everything to them, and then I also provide persona that I am easy to approach, so my students can ask me anything if they have any issue with the course or with the assignments that I assign them to.
Alright, still related with communication, do you think your communication skill help you to achieve your goals as a lecturer or your job, and why?
Well, I believe it is, because I think if you don't really have a good communication skill, then it will be quite difficult for you to explain things with your students. And then since we communicate every day with the students, right? It is not only in the classroom, but when I actually lead them, for example, for their becoming their academic advisor, so I need to communicate well as well with them, especially if, for example, my students have problems not only with their education but also with their daily life. Then I need to communicate with them and then see how can I help them, and then it really requires good communication so that they can tell us honestly about what are the issue, and then how can I help them.
Alright, so we can say that as a lecturer, communication is one of the most important skill for us. And then managing work can be challenging. How do you usually maintain and manage your work in a daily life?
That's an interesting question. So I think in terms of managing, I can say, I didn't mention it before, but I can say I am really good at managing things. So even though I have a lot of works with me, I can actually prioritize which one to do first, which one to do next. So I I think this is because my experience in being the supervisor for teachers and also learning specialist before in the company actually really helped me, because I used to manage a team, although it's actually a small team, but I manage them and then I usually assign them with some jobs so that we can really achieve the goal. And then because of that experience, actually right now it's quite easy for me to manage things, even though I have so many universities, for example, to teach. Yeah, but I can manage. Usually if, for example, I have some deadlines or some deadlines with many jobs or works, then I will usually assign one job in a day, so that when the deadline happens, then I can finish all.
Alright, so this is going to be interesting. Could you like give a tips for audience, maybe for manage a time?
I think managing the time is really important, especially for students and for everyone, because that's a really important skill right now. Because if you cannot manage your time well, then people won't hire you, of course, and then it will be difficult for you. So I think the tips and trick, maybe you need to learn how to decide the priority for your work. That's the first point. And then you also need to learn delegate things if it means that you are working in a team, for example, and you are leading something. So you need to delegate the work well, and then you also need to know you also need to be able to recognize people's strengths and weaknesses, I think. So when you know the people's strengths and weaknesses, then you can assign the appropriate job for them, so it will be easier for them to finish. But I think deciding the priority is important, and then having a strategic mind also important. So you need to think like not only one step ahead but 3 steps ahead. So what you need to do after this, and then after that, and then after that. So that's really important.
Alright, thank you very much. So we move on to the next topic, like problem solving. Like we know problems are unavoidable in any job, right? So how can you solve them when they arise at work?
As I said before, I am quite a solution-oriented person. So if I got a problem, I don't really focus on the problem. Maybe I will focus on the problem for several, let's say 4 hours, for example. So I will try to identify what is the issue, and then what is the cause, and then what is the effect. But then after that, usually I will be focusing on, okay, we got the issue, we identified the issue, so what can we do next? What kind of solution we can do best to minimize the major effects of this problem? I think that's actually what's really important in problem solving, not focusing on the problems itself and then debating on why this happened and so on and so forth, but instead identify it and then focus on the solution.
Alright, and the next question is, every field has its up and downs. What kind of opportunities and challenges do you face in your field as a lecturer?
Well, the opportunities may be that you can learn more and more. I think if you like to gain new knowledge, then being a lecturer is a really good opportunity, a really good thing for you. That's because I think every semester you will teach different courses, and then in the course usually the knowledge or the information is updated every year. So you need to learn, even though you already teach that subject, in the previous year, for example. But then you also need to update your knowledge whether there are new development or not. While the downs maybe is that sometimes it can be overwhelming because, as I said before, we have 3 pillars and then it happens at the same time, sometimes in one semester. So in one semester you need to teach, for example, 5 to 7 courses in a week, and then you also need to do research which need to be finished in one semester because that's compulsory for us, that's a must. And then we also need to do community service in one semester once at least, yeah. And of course, when you are doing the community service, it needs preparation and it needs your time, your mind, your energy to prepare and also to collaborate with others. So I think that's maybe some of the downside of the job as a lecturer.
Alright, so being lecturer actually so complicated, right, Miss? So for someone who wants to enter your field, what skills do you think are required as a lecturer or as an educator in general?
Really important question. Maybe if you want to be a lecturer, then you need to have, well, of course, teaching skill is a must since you're going to teach. If you don't really like teaching, then later on your students will get the effect, yeah. So they won't get the information that they should have in the classroom. And then also I think managing skills, since as I said the job is quite challenging. So if you cannot manage your time, then you won't have work-life balance as a lecturer. So managing skill is also important. And another thing maybe is what is it? Analytical skills maybe for your research and also community studies.
So it is teaching skill, managing skill, and analytical skill, maybe also communication skill are important or required for someone who wants to enter field of education. So in this era, technology is changing in many industries today, including in education. How has technology impact your field of work?
Okay. Talking about technology, well, it actually changes a lot of things in education. Well, we used to have only whiteboards or maybe the blackboards with us with the board marker and also the chalk. But nowadays, because of the technology, we have the LCD, so it's easier to teach. And then in ULM we have what we call as Simari, which is some kind of learning management system, and that's really make our job as a lecturer easier because you can drop any materials there, and then the students actually can drop their assignments there as well, and then we can also assign them some quizzes there. It's actually make our work easier because of technology.
Alright, so in your opinion, technology is make your work easier, right? So, and then innovation is often discussed in the workplace. Do you think innovation and creativity affect your work, and why?
Well, it is of course affecting the education. That's because of the innovation we now have what we call it online learning. So if, for example, we cannot teach offline face to face in the classroom because of maybe we have some works when we are in another region, for example, we can still give the students a class with online learning. And I think innovation and creativity is also a part of our job as educator. That's because every year we actually face different students. So even though they are maybe from similar background or they are from the similar regions, still their characters are different. So if we don't innovate or being creative in our teaching, then some students will be too bored in joining our class.
Alright, thank you, Miss. Now, I want to hear your opinion in remote work. Nowadays, remote work is becoming more common, right? So, what are your perspective on the future of remote work in your field?
Okay, remote work. I actually experienced working remotely when I work in a company before. And in terms of education, I think remote education can be beneficial and can be good in the future, but we actually need to prepare things before we can implement them. That's because in remote activities or in remote education, sometimes it needs extra effort to make the students focus, and then the students themselves need to have high motivation to the remote work to be successful. And we as a teacher need to prepare a lot of things. That's because we, like for example, okay, we can prepare the learning materials 1 week before the meetings, but in remote works you cannot do that sometimes. That's because we need to have it ready before the class starts. So I think a lot of preparation needs to be done if we want to have the remote education. But I think it's good if we can combine them. Like for example, for students who can access Lamu Mangkurat University, for example, they can come and learn face to face. But then if for examples, there are a lot of people, like for example right now in our batch this semester, there are some students who are quite sick, and then he is absent a lot in the class because he needs to be hospitalized. Yeah, then that kind of remote education actually will help him to still receive education that they need, even though they cannot come offline to the class.
Alright, looking ahead, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Well, as I said, since we are a civil servant, then we need to have this job until we got retired. So I think in 5 to 10 years, even in 30 years in the future, I'm still going to be a lecturer. But maybe I hope that I already finished my doctoral degree in those 10 years. And then hopefully I will contribute more in in education. So it's not only as a lecturer, but also I can be an expert, for example, in helping company, especially the language course company, for example. Or I can be an expert as well when it comes to curriculum, or when it comes to language education at schools or things related to that.
Alright, lastly, I'm curious about your motivation. What motivates you about who you are today?
What, yeah? I don't know, I wonder, but maybe what motivates me the most is that because I want to give more to the environment or to the society. And then since I'm excel at education, then that's the field that I chose to be, yeah, because it is said that when you, in my opinion, when you become a lecturer, then you will, you will teach students, and then the students later on will teach other people. So I think it's like a continuous thingy, yeah. So the impact is wider and also bigger, I think, in terms of impact, yeah, when it comes to be a lecturer. And instead of like, for example, because I had two choices at that time, whether I want to be a teacher or I want to be a lecturer. Well, if I become a teacher, then I will teach my students, and then if I become a lecturer, I will teach the teacher of the students, like that. So maybe that's thing, giving back to the society.
Wow, that's so amazing, Miss. Thank you so much for your insight and experiences. Your answer has been very valuable. Thank you, Miss.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Alright, everyone, that concludes my interview with Miss Niswi. Thank you for watching, and I hope the information has been shared is insightful and inspiring. So I now return the coverage back to the studio.